Yeah. Yo. Morning.
Morning.
What's going on? You all good?
Yeah, all good. How are you?
Alive and kicking.
We all are.
We are moving. Mads has been and done cardio, bless her.
Smashing shows over the weekend as well.
You know what? She absolutely killed it. I was fucking terrified. Yeah. It's a super surreal feeling, I think. Obviously, when I didn't really appreciate it when I competed, and Mads was like, I feel fucking so sick. Like so sick when you walked on stage. But Mads is super prepared. Like, there's nothing I was worried about in the way of like, I don't know if she's going to be able to do something. It was just more the case of like, do you know, something that may happen, and like you got to like witness it. It was like, oh no, sickening. But good. How's everyone's weekend been?
Not too bad. Just getting through things at the moment.
How's everything on your side, Remy? All good?
Yeah, well, my house is boarded up a bit at the moment.
Yeah.
So I've got windows and new door, and new fence, but we're getting there just slightly.
Yeah.
But yeah, other than that, it's getting a bit better. Like, I'm struggling with leaving my house for long periods of time and stuff like that. But other than that, I'm getting a bit better day by day.
Love that. Yeah. Well, just if you need anything, obviously there's only so much that me and Mads can do. But I know you speak to Mads quite a lot anyway. But obviously, I hope you're all right. If you do need anything, let me know. How's everyone else? All good?
Yeah, good. Cheers, mate.
Yeah. I don't know, if I'm honest. I think I'm very, very grateful for you guys jumping on, but I don't know where everyone else is. I think it's a fucking piss poor turnout, if I'm honest.
They're all still in bed. They should be doing cardio.
You know what?
Cardio.
Yeah, it should people just need to, I think, crack on.
Have their asses kicked if they're not joining the Zoom call.
Do you know what I mean?
That's it. Hour on the Stairmaster now. That's it.
Everyone's getting it. Do you I'm just waiting for Madeline. There we go. Joker. Do you want to jump on?
Yeah, I can do it. I was just in the middle of making this. If you want to take over, I'll just leave it for a bit.
I'll take it over. Sure. You say hello. You're the superstar. We're going to get started now, guys. 2 seconds.
Yeah, everyone's rubbish. So
we'll jump in. I think let's just jump in.
Roll on, yeah.
Yeah, guys. For everyone that has joined, thank you very much. Obviously, we're going to. I think we'll have a conversation with the guys and see what everyone actually wants to do, because obviously everyone isn't going to jump on. Like, we've got fucking 80 people in that group chat. Do you know what I mean? And for the guys that are jumping on, it's clear that you're pretty serious about what you want to do, but it's value for you as well as us. Do you know what I mean? So we'll work out.
Yeah, we do this for everyone else's benefit, like not for our benefit. Do you know what I mean? Obviously, it's nice to get everyone on screen, but we do this to help everybody else. Cal in his off season, fucking jumper and drinking his Monster, looking very off season.
110 kilos now. It's completely bodybuilding.
Yeah, 240 this morning for the first time ever. Oh, love it.
Fueled by food.
Love that. Right, yeah, we'll just crack
Morning,
on.
Rick.
Morning.
Guru.
Morning. Out and about again.
So we're gonna cover supplementation today, and just not in like silly amounts of detail, but just talk about why we recommend the things that we recommend and what the benefits of them are. Because we get this question a lot, and although on everyone's forms it does say like what they're for. Paul, is it you? Can I just mute you? You've got a lot of noise in the background there, mate.
Yeah.
Right. So it's just a bit of a description as to why we ask you to take certain things, what the benefits are, and just give a bit of description and as to why. So pretty straightforward. It's nothing complicated today, but it is a question that we get asked a lot. So, oh, we didn't fill that in.
Shit, no, I did.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, hang on a minute.
Fucking hell, technical difficulty.
There we go.
There you go, look. Told you.
Yes. So we broke this down into two because we've got like health supplements such as things that will assist your diet or supplement your diet with nutrients that you won't get from your foods because you can't possibly necessarily eat enough of the varied things. So you take supplementations to help with that. And then you've got performance products such as and we'll go through this, but things like pre-workouts, things that are going to aid your performance in the gym and recovery. So we've broken them down into two and just a bit of a description as to why we use each one. We're not going into any other supplementation such as PEDs or anything like that. This is purely health and performance stuff over the counter.
I think, I think there's a big thing for me, as all of the guys that work with me will know, that I'll always say what I think is necessary and what I think is like the percentage makeup and difference. If you're somebody who wants to go to the Olympia, for example, then do you know what? I think the investment for creatine is probably necessary because they make up the very, very small percentage differences. If you're a lifestyle client who is trying to lose body fat, it's not to say that creatine isn't a must, but a multivitamin and cod liver oil to ensure that we've got the I's dotted and T's crossed and the bare minimums covered is a priority. And like all of you will know that if there's one thing that I will stress, I'm not asking you to buy Animal Pack, I'm not asking you to buy Yamamoto, that's 50 pound a box that will last you a month. But one thing I will say is go and buy an A to Z multivitamin. All right, so moving on, the multivitamin. Now you'll notice that a lot of this stuff is from Complete Strength. There's no other reason for this bar the fact that we've got the pictures and we can add it. So what does a multivitamin do, guys? So we'll go through each and every one that we mentioned. Quite simply, a multivitamin will cover you A to Z. So anything, most vitamins and minerals you'll get from natural sources such as food. However, the things that you do miss, if you're someone who is considered as fairly strict with your diet and you stick with your chicken, you stick with your turkey, and you potentially don't have any red meats, there's going to be vitamins and minerals that you miss from certain food sources due to your dietary restrictions. So again, multivitamin will cover you A to Z. There is also a nice little picture of Complete Strength multivitamin with the digestive enzyme attached, which, as most of you will know, a digestive enzyme is just something that will help break down and partition and help you uptake nutrients more efficiently. Moving, and again, shortfall, anything that you miss in your diet. Omega-3. So omega-3, quite simply, makes up the structure of every cell in your body. There is a massive question in terms of the health, there's not a question, it's a statement, the health benefits that it increases due to the healthy fats that you get from omega-3 specifically. Most of you, if you eat some sort of fatty fish, i.e. salmon, will take this on in abundance. However, as a baseline, this is fantastic due to the fact that it supports hearts, lungs, all your vital organs and immune system health, which again, I cannot stress for all of us doing resistance programming or any kind of resistance training, our central nervous system, regardless of whether you train like Cal or whether you train like Maddie, Cal's a hardcore, Maddie's a little fairy. If you train like either one of those at the end of the spectrum, your central nervous system does get taxed, and being in a position where you can support your central nervous system with strong immune system health, trust me, they work very, very closely together. Okay. Is it Estroaid? Estroaid. So this is predominantly more a focus towards females in terms of menstrual cycle, functionality, etc. However, for us males and females, understand that testosterone and estrogen are in masses of abundance in males and females. Now, we would say that testosterone is a male hormone and estrogen is a female hormone. Unfortunately, for both sexes, we need them to be at an equilibrium. They need to complement each other. So estrogen, specifically in females, will ensure that hormones are effective and our menstrual cycle will be consistent, which will aid in our stability with our hormones. However, for males and females, this is massively important. We do recommend anyone that does struggle from a hormone standpoint, especially females that have maybe been dieted too hard or over dieted in the way of potentially taking their weight excessively high or taking their weight excessively low. This is a fantastic aid to ensure that your hormones are in a good spot. I'm going to turn this up a little bit. So estrogen, KM66. So we have got our anti-cortisol guru. It is the best of the best. There's nothing better, in my opinion, than ashwagandha. I started saying something like ganja, isn't it? It's like, yo, have a spliff, you'll be good to go. So for me, this is a be all and end all, and you'll all know that I massively promote Calm. Unfortunately, it's out of stock because it's that good. But ashwagandha or KM66 is the forefront of the actual supplement itself, and what it will do, it will drive down cortisol levels. Now, the most important thing when talking about stress in the body is cortisol levels is the main driver of that. And if your cortisol levels are out of whack, that massively knocks out your chemical balance. Now, what will happen if your chemical balance is out of whack? Your ability to partition, break down, and deliver nutrients or uptake nutrients is massively decreased. So what does that affect? That affects your performance, that affects your recovery. If you can't perform, you aren't growing. If you can't recover, you aren't growing. If you can't perform, you aren't losing fat. If you can't recover, you aren't losing fat. It's as simple as that. So for me, the building blocks to progression come from your ability to manage stress. Okay. So for me, KM66, ashwagandha is the one and only. And I think in terms of, I think application is probably quite a good question with some of these supplements as well. So I'll tell you what, we could probably go back a little bit just to jazz things up a bit, keep you all on your toes. So when would I recommend taking a multivitamin? When would I recommend taking a multivitamin? Which meal? Would it be meal 1 or would it be meal 6? Yeah, everyone's going on, yeah. So yeah, I think most of these supplements are going to be taken meal 1. So multivitamin, take with meal 1, omega-3, take with meal 1. Estro aid, I think you could probably take that with meal 1 as well. Personally, I wouldn't say there was any optimal time to be taking estro aid if you were going to take it as a female. Mads is swearing at me. Am I right or wrong? Yeah, it's just from a consistency standpoint. Now, KSM66 is slightly different. Due to the stress that our body is put under during training or resistance training, I would normally say, in my opinion, it should be taken post-workout. Reason for that is because that is realistically, unless you're somebody who, to be fair, I can't think of an occupation where you'd be massively, massively stressed physically and mentally, any more so than what you would with training. So I would say take your ashwagandha post-workout. If you're someone who trains in the evening, post-workout pre-bed normally works. But what is massively important, again, for nutrient uptake, nutrient partitioning ability, is to be able to reduce as much stress as possible prior to taking on or whilst taking on your post-workout meal. It also aids in sexual performance, if anyone is worried about that. I got some smiles there. Thyroid support. So why is it? I got a lot of smiles. Okay, it's just because I can't see all your faces. So yeah, I take double. With thyroid with thyroid support. So why do we want a productive or optimal thyroid uptake or output as bodybuilders? I suppose we could say fitness enthusiasts, anybody trying to achieve some form of physical, aesthetic, mental goal. So for me, your thyroid literally regulates everything that we need as we should probably say bodybuilders. Yeah. It literally regulates everything. And again, talking about chemical balance, I know I bang on about this a lot, but it's true. The regulation of your metabolism, the regulation of your body temperature, your regulation of mood, heart rate, blood pressure, like these are all things that are either going to make you very, very responsive or very, very irresponsive. Sorry. Now, for me, I think if we were to go through these symptoms here, talking about tiredness, weight gain, poor digestion, depression, low cognitive function, muscle weakness and cramps, I would probably say all of us have felt that in some way, shape or form, right? Now, that will either be from the fact that your central nervous system is fried, or potentially, I think to be fair, everyone on this call has either had one end of the spectrum, either being over dieted and being very, very underweight, or or probably have eaten too much and been overweight. And it's funny, isn't it, how your dietary approach and nutrition practice will determine how active and optimal your thyroid function is. Now, something to remember about your thyroid, guys, as we move through specifically a dieting phase, your thyroid gets less active for the reasons of managing your metabolism. All right. So if you're somebody who is going through a weight loss phase at this very moment in time, and you start to become less responsive to the changes that are being made, one of the reasons for that could be that your thyroid is actually trying to kick back. Because if it's regulating all of these functions, these natural functions for you to stay alive, what is your body there to do? It's there to keep you alive. Yeah. So you have that sort of natural survival mechanisms, I suppose, i.e., back in the olden days when we didn't eat 6 meals a day and go and squat 260 kilos on the back squat, we were in a position where we had to hunt and gather, right? So then we were in a position where we had to survive. So our bodies use mechanisms to be able to do that, prevent you from losing weight, prevent you from being in a position where you're giving up too much good fats in your diets, giving up too much energy specifically. So thyroid function for me is the main factor, and something that I see for all of the guys I work with, whether you're super responsive or potentially less responsive, that could be due to the fact that we've abused our thyroid in some way, shape or form. One thing I would say, if we are ever in a position where your thyroid is not as optimal as it possibly could be, you can recover slightly. I say you can recover slightly, unless you go into the depths of having an inactive thyroid where you do need actual medical support in the way of like supplementation by good dietary practices coming out the back of either a long dieting phase or potentially an abusive bad nutrition practice phase. You are in a position where you can recover slightly. Okay. But me and Mads will always help you with that. Glucose disposal agents for all of you eaters out there. So GDAs, quite simply, for me, what's most important? Optimizing everything we do. From a performance and recovery standpoint, we want to be in a position where when we are taking on food, we are utilizing it to the best of our ability. Massively important in a gaining phase when you're trying to grow muscle. Why? Because your body requires more of that energy source or energy sources to be able to drive your recovery and performance. But also in a dieting phase, although your carbs may be lower, what's important, we need to be able to use those carbs to the best of our abilities. And if your body's in a position where fundamentally you're not taking on that food or those nutrients as effectively as you possibly can, you could be missing a hell of a lot. So in terms of what GDAs will help do, it will help optimize nutrient uptake, partition, and distribution. You can tell I wrote this, can't you? Because it's the same thing all the time. does this by decreasing the amount of insulin secreted by the body so it takes stress off the pancreas. So when you take on an enormous amount of food or food in general, your pancreas will release insulin to help you break down and move and partition out food. By using a GDA, it will help reduce the amount of stress on your pancreas to have to do that. Okay, this one doesn't help and aid in sexual performance, guys. Joints. I got some smiles again. I'm good with you guys, and I'm reeling you in. Hook. So joints. Why would we take joint supplements? What do we see in resistance programming or resistance training specifically? We see a consistency in progressive load. Yeah, we talked about progressive overload, why it's important for driving response and adaptation through protein accretion in the muscles. We want bigger muscles. We have to normally get stronger. Now, the problem, this is for me, guys. How fucking disgusting does that look? Have we only got greens? Oh, you're shit. I'm going to do this. Like to drink with Corey because Corey's my mate. When he drinks with Corey, downs it in. Anyway, so going back to joints. Why is it important that we look after? Why is it important that we look after our joints? So, quite simply, you fucking cut me off now, babe. I forgot where I was. Where was I, guys? So, talking about joints, we want to be in a position where, because of the increased load and tension that we drive through muscles specifically, obviously the brunt of that, although we're going to be moving in accurate movement patterns, we're going to be in a position where our training accuracy is at an all-time high, because all of you are going to be sending your training videos, getting workout analysis, and then going from there. We have got to appreciate that the joints are going to take a lot of the load and strain as well. If we are people who are maximizing fatigue accumulation, we are going to be picking up aches and pains. And the way that we can minimize or aid our performance and minimize the amount of stress that our joints are under are by using things like Joint Aid or Joint from Complete Strength, which is packed of things like collagen peptides and I'm going to try and pronounce this, glucosamine sulfate. So that is the highest dosage or most potent dosage of glucosamine that you can get. There are a couple of different forms, but glucosamine sulfate is the most expensive and highly potent, I suppose, glucosamine form that you can get. So it's very, very useful for, again, rejuvenation of joints, ligaments, and tendons, which obviously we need to be able to move. Health aid. So for all of you, we have somebody entering. Who may this be? Don't know, can't see them. Yo, whoever that is, thank you for joining. So we're on to health aid. Now, this for some may not be relevant at all, and you can probably see the assisted and enhanced athletes portion of this text. Okay, so for you guys who are currently using assistance in your journey, any chance? Fucking hell. So for any of you guys, you're doing the performance tabs, by the way. For anyone using assistance or enhancements of heads, what we are advising is we want to try and drive down or manage the oxidization process in the body. Now, appreciating that this isn't relevant for everyone, but anybody using performance enhancing drugs or assistance is going to be what's the best word? I won't say at risk, but vulnerable or susceptible, is going to be susceptible to toxicity within the body. Okay, now we use safer model and stat design approaches within our approach and application with PEDs. However, we have still got to appreciate that there is forms of risk, and although we use things like telmisartan, which is an absolute god with regards to how we manage stress on vital organs, one thing we can do is use things that do detoxify things like our liver and kidney. And Health Aid, no word of a lie, is the best product on the market from a dosage and panel standpoint to be able to support you guys moving forward. Okay, so we call it a super multivitamin in the way of, if you are somebody who is assisted, Health Aid is the Don Dada. Moving on to my favorite, guys, and then I'm going to pass you over to the wellness overall champ 2022, Madeline the Tank Faith, soon to be Slee Royal Fieldhouse Bishop. So Calm and Sleep Aid. What do we want to ensure, guys? As we are all training to the fucking nines, we are working our fingers to the bone to ensure that we have good check-ins every single week. Can you hear me? Or does it sound like I'm in a calf? She's finished, apparently. Not that I'm not grateful for my breakfast being made, of course. So what do we want to ensure? We want to ensure that when we are working to the rates that we are working to, we are all working hard to gain those extra percentages every single day. We're hitting our non-negotiables to guarantee progression. What do we want to ensure? We want to ensure we can actually recover, all right? And one thing we've got to appreciate, apart from rest days, the only time we are progressing is when we are either getting a good amount of sleep or a little amount of sleep. Now, one thing I think is a massive priority for me, guys, and although the glitz and glam of an online coach may seem desirable, we are all working extremely hard as individuals every single day. We've all got commitments. We can see kids in the and babies in this chat specifically. Paul's being helped by his little helper to have breakfast this morning. I know a lot of you have got kids, a lot of you work long jobs, and it's an audacity for me to say as a coach, you need to get 8 to 10 hours of sleep a day, to be able to progress, because that's not the reality for most of us. So what do we want to ensure? We want to ensure that rather than quantity, we're getting quality. All right. So something that Calm and Sleep Aid will help do. Number one, help you slip into deeper sleep pathways. If we're slipping into deeper sleep pathways, we're in a position where the deeper sleep that we get, the more quality sleep we get, which means the more quality recovery we get. As a result, we are in a position where our performance is aided because our recovery is optimal. Okay, so Sleep Aid and Calm will help increase sleep pathways, improve deep sleep, aid recovery, lower cortisol and stress levels in the body, which, as I've discussed before, will aid everything. Okay, we are going to move on to Madeline the Faith Tank Overall Wellness Bishop, soon to be Slee Royal Fieldhouse. Thank you very much, guys. I'm going to eat my bagel.
Well, liberty. I'm back on no carbohydrates today. So, okay, so some of these people might already take, some of them you might not, some of them will be relevant and some of them won't be, but HBCD is probably the first one. And any of you who've been on a gaining phase with us, especially probably with Corey pushing through quite high, you will have maybe been introduced to HBCD before. HBCD is highly branched cluster dextrin. It's a mouthful. So essentially what it is carbohydrates.
It's the only one you're getting.
Carry on. Eat your breakfast. Right. So it's a carbohydrate powder, basically, that is often, I mean, you could take it any point of the day, but the aim is that really you take it intra-workout. So you put it in your intra-workout drink. And essentially, if your food is high and you are, I wouldn't say struggling to get more food in, but it is used often as an opportunity to drive some more carbohydrates into the body through a workout window. So you are pushing more carbohydrates into the body where you would usually have a longer period between meals because you'll be training. And it also allows you then to improve your performance and recovery. So you're able to actually, when you are pushing blood into that muscle from training, drive nutrient uptake through taking on carbohydrates through your training. It's a soluble carbohydrate, so it's very, very quickly digested. Gram for gram, you get pretty much 1 gram to 1 gram of carbs. So it's very, very high in carbohydrates. It's pretty much pure carb powder. So it is very, very good for the use of that. If you are in a dieting phase, it's probably one of the first things to go, because essentially there isn't much volume to it. It's not going to fill you up in terms of eating something. So the first thing when I went into a dieting phase is we took it out because I would rather eat 20 grams of carbs than have 20 grams in my drink. So that is HBCD. Pump. Now you can use any pump product. This is just an example, is goat pumps from Complete Strength. Tastes super nice, and like I use it all the time. But
Yes, roll for discount.
Goat pumps essentially is a pre-workout product, but it's a non-stim. So it's a non-stimulant pre-workout. And the reason why we take this, and I think there's a misconception and people think pre-workout is just there for a caffeine boost and to get you through your session. Now, although it does help with that, what it actually does is drive cell volumization. So you're able to improve or increase the cell volume in your muscle by driving nutrient uptake and blood to that. So it improves blood flow there and the swell to the muscle. And the idea of that is we want more blood flow to the muscle, because the more blood flow we get there, the more nutrients will be delivered there. So the more growth and adaptation essentially you're going to get. So it is actually a good performance enhancer. It's not just there as a pre-workout product to make you feel good. It is actually a performance enhancer. So it will improve your training, and it will actually improve the amount of blood that you are able to get to the muscle that you are training, and therefore in theory improve your recovery and improve growth, etc. And then next product is a pre-workout. Pre-V2 is just an example we've used, but very, very similar to pumped, except it's got stim in it. So it's a higher stim base. So it has got caffeine in and a couple of other ingredients as well, which are stimulants. So the product is the same in terms of the idea of what it does in terms of driving cell volumization, but pre-workout will give you that kick. And if anyone isn't used to taking it and then they do, or they switch to a new one with new caffeine levels in, you'll feel sometimes like you can feel it. So you'll get a bit of a tingle in face, and you'll feel a little bit different when you take it. And that is just the product, the elements in the product and the ingredients in the product. Creatine. So creatine is a lot of you, everyone should be taking this in their intro. We recommend it. However, a lot of you probably know about creatine, have been told about it before, understand a little bit about it. It's the most researched product like on the market in terms of bodybuilding. It's cheap, very, very, very cheap over the counter. It's very, very, very reliable. It's very well researched and very, very safe. It's a very, very cheap and easy way to actually replenish ATP stores in the muscle, which help you to improve your strength and produce new energy. Now, a lot of people say take it in your intra because it improves your energy and it helps during your workout. Well, as long as you take it within the 24-hour window, to be honest, your body stores this in your muscles. So your muscles store ATP. So creatine will help replenish that over a 24-hour period. If you take it on, it's in your system. It's not something you necessarily need to have during your intra-workout window. You don't drink it and then your body just snatches at it. You replenish this over time. So the reason why we say to have it in people's intra is just so we know that you're definitely taking it. Me and Corey actually put it in our morning drink, so we know that we have it every single morning. And then we have a small amount in our intro as well. But that's just how we break it down. But if you're not taking creatine, we do recommend that everyone does, so everyone should be. But it's a no-brainer in terms of performance enhancer. And it's, for the cost of it, it's something that everyone should be taking, to be honest. Like, one conversation I do have with some people is, should I be taking other performance enhancers, such as like, what if I take steroids? Can I do this? Can I take fat burners? And the thing that I start with is the simple stuff like, well, is your diet on point 100%? Is your cardio on point 100%? Is your training on point 100%? And are you basically hitting these basic supplements first? Because you will get a lot more out of what you're doing if you're hitting these basic things first before you start thinking about these other things as well. So
I think there's a question on dosing as well, guys. There's for some reason opinions that creatine has to be loaded. So normally, and this is just things that you may pick up and think as you're buying it from a protein shop, Dave behind the counter tells you that you need to load up to 20 milligrams, 20 grams a day. And then you have to drop in and then you have to cycle it. You don't have to cycle it. 5 grams. It says 5 grams. I'm going to say 5 milligrams. It's 5 grams. 5 grams per day, every single day, taken in and around the same time will have an enormously effective, positively effective response. I think in terms of why it's important, as Maz said, so replenishment of lost ATP is very, very important for resistance training specifically, because ATP is an energy source that's used short and sharp. So if over, let's say, 30-second basis, which understanding you guys will do sets of 1 to 2 minutes sometimes, but in terms of that exertion rate, you need it short and sharp. And to be able to creatine is broken down into phosphocreatine, which sources ADP, which then transfers into ATP. So you can understand how if you lose ATP during resistance training, why you need that replenished short and sharp. Okay, and if you've got a constant supply of creatine, you can also get it from things like red meats. Red meats have natural creatine in, but understanding that if you're not taking on 5 grams a day, which has been researched to be the optimal dose consistently, you need to be in a position, or it's ideal to be in a position where you can have that consistent source. Okay, so if you're a high level performer, which we all are, ATP or creatine is something that we want to ensure that we've got. Back to my asparagus.
Thank you. EAAs. Okay, so this is something that we ask people to take in their intra-workout drink. And for most people, this will be around 10 grams. And this is something that essentially an essential amino acid, your protein is broken down into amino acids. So all proteins, any protein that you take on, any protein in the body is made up of amino acids. They are the building blocks of protein. So when people say take protein, that's great, but the building blocks of that are EAAs, are amino acids. So EAAs are slightly different to BCAAs. So you may have BCAAs that you've used before, branch chain amino acids, and you might have EAAs. Now, we always recommend EAAs because BCAAs only cover around 3 to 4 different amino acids. EAAs is usually between, I think there's seven on the panel. So they cover all the amino acids. So that is why it's a better product. It's more complete, you get more of it. And we ask you to take this during your training because that is when you are breaking down your protein. That is when you are breaking down your muscle fibers. And that is when your body needs these building blocks essentially to be taken on. So it's got the stores there to replenish, but it's also a window where your digestion, like you are at a point where you in your training where your body's taking on these fluids. Like your body's taking on these fluids quickly, it's rehydrating, you've got it in your drink, and it's something then you are breaking down and digesting and delivering through your training. So that is why we ask you to take it when we do, and that is essentially the basis of the product. It's an incredible product, and something that, to be honest, if you're not taking during your training, like not saying that it's going to make you put on 20 kilos, but in terms of your recovery from that session for later in the day and how you feel after the session and potentially the following day, this will have a massive positive impact on that. So it does help to preserve and grow muscle. So it is something, that we say, this is something that we should all be taking. Let me move on. Okay, so the next product is glutamine. So this is actually an amino acid as well. So still part of the amino chain family, but glutamine is something that we need a little bit more of because it's something that we use massively for our digestion. Now, due to the sport that we do, and obviously eating more food or even sometimes eating less food, being able to digest our food well and uptake our nutrients correctly and be able to make the most out of what we are doing, making sure that we've got the right amount of certain amino acids and assisting our body with that is obviously what we are trying to achieve by taking these. And glutamine does that. The body does create it, but only in very small amounts. And obviously, as we eat 4, 5, 6 times a day and we push food as well, like this does put a stress on our digestive system. So if we can help with this, that massively helps. Now, it is found in meat, fish and eggs as well, but again in small quantities, just like in our body, in our muscle stores, it is in small quantities. So we assist this with taking it in a powder form. Again, we often say to take this during your intra so that it's something that is digested solubly on its own, and again you then take it at the same time pretty much every day. You got anything else to say on that?
No, I think Matt's nailed that one.
Oh, thanks. Oh,
That's
That
it.
was the last one.
There you go, Mads. That was easy for you, wasn't it?
Yeah. Thank you. I needed a day. I'm tired.
There you go. So, guys,
Was that helpful? Did that teach anyone anything they didn't already know?
Yeah, that taught me a lot more, to be honest.
Love that. Thanks, Remy. Anyone else?
Yeah, definitely. You've just reminded me how important it is to take like all my vitamins and stuff. I'm a bit shit sometimes. So like while we've been on the call, I've ordered a pill pot to like put it all in so I stop forgetting.
Good. Yeah. What we do every morning, so a little tip for people, we've got above where our kettle is, we've got like all of our supplements on a shelf. So I'll get them all out, put them on the side, take what we need out of each one, and then put the pot back as I've done it, and then they're in 2 piles on the side. So they're there ready, instead of thinking at 12 o'clock, oh, I didn't take my multivitamin. It's part of the routine. So as part of breakfast, Corey will get on with sorting out doing our horrible drink that I made him take this morning, and I'll get all the pots out and then put them back as necessary. So they're there. So that's a good little tip.
I think there's an argument, like with anything, about momentum as well, guys. So once you start taking these things, so again, creatine, glutamine, yeah. But I'm saying about actual dosing of these things. Taking 5 grams of creatine today is today, but taking 5 grams every single day enables you to gain momentum on your goals, because although it may have it may aid you in your performance and recovery today, or it's not going to aid you in 3 weeks' time. So you have to continually take these things for them to actually consistently be in your system. Yeah. Because they won't always be in your system. So quite simply, I think having that routine where you're like, right, okay. And that's why it was important for me and Mads to make sure that in our daily routine, we were in a position where we were constantly taking things on. If you take creatine on training days in your intra, yeah, it's a great time to take it. But what happens on rest days? When do you take it on rest days? All right, well, if you train at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and you don't train the next day, then you're not having 5 grams in your system every single day, are you? Because when would you take it on rest day? Are you going to take it at 4 o'clock? Probably not, because you'll be somewhere else. You're not going to be at the gym. So understanding your routine, your daily non-negotiables, and tying these things in together is massively, massively important. And I say about the percentage differences, and it does work. Like it's about accumulation. Like that's all you need to do. Gain momentum. Get your tablets in. The tablets that you need. Listen, guys, we've gone through an array of things that may be completely relevant to you, may be completely unrelevant to you, and it is our jobs to fine-tune your own supplement needs on the basis of what your actual specific needs are. So some of you have blood tests. There may be certain vitamins that we need to take on. Something that I see a massive loss on for a lot of guys who send me their blood results are like vitamin B. Okay, so we'll supplement vitamin B directly, because a multivitamin from Tesco, although is more than enough to keep the normal average human being going every single day, sometimes we need a little bit more as biological individuals. Yeah. So I think understanding your daily non-negotiables, understanding how you manage your own routine will then help you get into a good routine with certain things that are going to help you progress. Differences.
Anyone got any questions around that stuff?
Right, done. Let's stretch.
No?
Actually, I want to go step into a bit.
I didn't know if she was asking a question.
Anyone?
No questions.
Fucking hell, we're good at this.
Welcome, Debbie, by the way. Debbie is back with us.
Hey, Debbie.
Debbie's a little superstar.
And Paul.
She's come back from being very unwell for a long period of time, and she's ready to absolutely smash it. And she's going to get married next year, and she's going to look wicked. So.
How you doing, Corey?
How you doing?
Mads?
Good morning,
Hello,
sir.
mate.
You all right?
Yeah, not bad. Good to be back on regular.
The beard looks extra long and extra ginger today.
Yeah, it's not even been straightened today, so it's actually quite short.
Yeah, you look brilliant, mate. You look brilliant. How's everything going? Any struggles?
Yeah. No, it's back into normal routine now after the house move was just unbelievably stressful. I'll tell you about it later, but yeah, it's nice. We're getting settled and unpacked now, and I'm back in the gym regular. Food's back on point. It's getting back into full swing now.
with yourself, just, I mean, we have done a daily routine sort of Zoom, but I think it's important, obviously, mentioning just for everyone listening. So obviously your routine was out of whack. Ticking in daily non-negotiables was quite a struggle. What have you done over the past couple of days to say, right, I need to get back on plan. This is what I'm going to do. What was your like priority? Priority
is organising my daily non-training chores, like my dog walking, the school runs, and the shopping and all that sort of thing had to be rearranged because I now live further afield, away from the gym, away from the school and everything. So the timings were completely out. And so I've basically written it down and I've put it in a little book upstairs on my bed. So when I actually get up, I start ticking it off. So now I'm going to start adding that to the Google Sheets. So every point is accountable, but the routine has to be there. And because the kids were off school during the move for Easter, it was impossible. I was doing 6 or 7 van runs a day, moving furniture and boxes from one place to another. And I did 32 runs in a Luton van in the end. And trying to do that with 6 kids and 8 dogs and all of it was just impossible. But now it's all back to plan. So it's writing it down and ticking it off is the best way.
No, I think it's an important point for us all to remember that although things can seem quite difficult and obviously some things can't be ticked, but be in a position where it's like, right, okay, even to the point of, I don't know, let's say you fell into the biscuit tin, be in a position where you realign yourself with your goals, understand what you're trying to achieve, understand what you need to do to try and achieve that. Your daily non-negotiables, eating your food, getting your training in, whatever times they might be, doesn't matter, but providing we're back on job, so to speak, then we'll move forward. That's good. I think it's important for everyone to hear. That's all. It's good. Appreciate that. Very nice. Anyone else? Everyone good? Any questions? Any struggles? Oh, we are good at this. Cheers.
How you getting on, Abby? You all right?
Yeah, really good, thanks. I had posing yesterday, so that always like sets the week off nicely.
Amazing.
Hannah's just so good.
Yeah, she's good. Yeah, amazing. You'll be polished by the time you get down to PCA at the end of the year.
She literally changed all of my poses. But she gets so excited, like she makes you jump, like you're holding the pose, she'll be like, wow, I'm like, well, what do I do?
That's nice though. That's nice. It's good.
It's really good.
Oh, that's good.
Love that.
Oh, look, Gary's in the background as well.
Go on, Gary.
Morning, mate.
Morning, good looking. You all right?
Yeah, all good, mate.
My man. So I don't know if anyone has not got any more questions. For the guys that have jumped on, massively appreciated. I think, to be fair, like it's always the same faces jumping on. And there's also a big question is the amount of progress that you guys make as well. So I think I'll have a conversation with the guys that aren't jumping on for the amount of guys that we've got in that group chat that want to achieve their goals. Not that this is the be all and end all, but again, by making yourselves better, jumping on here, being able to communicate with us on a more direct basis, understand what other people are doing as well, is only going to increase your ability to continue to progress. And I also understand that there is a big sacrifice in terms of taking an hour and a half out of your morning on the day, on the weekend, to jump on here and have this conversation. You've all got responsibilities, you've all got things you need to do. So I think there's a question of potentially, is there a little bit too much regularity with these calls? Would it be better for you guys to jump on every other week? Do you know what I mean? Abby's shaking her head. And
well, what we don't want to do is take it away from the people who are using it, because it is for your information, and I do think they're really helpful. Like, we'll cover something different, and if you've got something you want us to cover, and I asked in the group yesterday, and day before, sorry, and I didn't really get much back. But the thing is, like, this is here for you guys. So anything that you want to know, just ask, and nothing's off limits. Like, we can talk about PEDs if you want to talk about PEDs. We can talk about whatever you want, but nothing is off limits. So it's your opportunity to be like, do you know what? I'd like to know about this, or I'd like to know about that. So it's like, well, we don't want to take it away from the people who engage with it and get something from it, but also if people are not jumping on because they think it's too often or they don't see the benefit in that, then we can reduce it. But I don't think that's the case. I just think people aren't necessarily motivated to jump on at 9 o'clock in the morning, even though I feel like it's easy, like everyone's lounging around the house on a Saturday morning. Like, I don't think it takes much for half an hour, 45 minutes to jump on to go through it. But that's just my opinion. So that's not us moaning at you guys.
Matt's out fishing for sharks. He's still on it. There you go. Ricky looks pissed he's not there, to be fair.
It's a nice morning as well.
You weren't allowed to go fishing now?
I've come back already.
Have you?
Oh my God.
Meal one, straight in. No, I think again, guys, we don't want to. We're not going to take it away from the guys who want to jump on. I also think there's quite a little bit of an argument for potentially you don't know what you want to know either. Like obviously you can sit there on a Wednesday and think, fucking hell, like, I'd love to know about that, but you probably message me or Maddie anyway. So we'll continue to go through actual topics, continue to do our thing. And yeah, we'll just continue to move forward. But we are massively appreciative of the guys who are jumping on, because we do appreciate does take time. Thank you, Charlene, as well. Shaheen. Sorry.
Very informative training at the moment. Listen to you guys instead of music. I love that.
Hey, my girl.
Love that.
So yeah, we'll continue to rock and roll. Do any of you is there any questions, or should we let you go? This is finishing before 10. It's amazing.
Meal too.
I've
You
got
all
one
happy?
too.
Has anyone got an idea of what you want to cover next week?
Oh, Rachel's on.
Morning, Rach. Heads.
Yeah.
Hey, they're both on there.
Hey.
Hey, got the camera on. Oh, yay.
Here's the boy. Hey,
He's been drinking his Cocoa Pops like this,
good.
down and everything.
That's what real men do. Love that.
Still got some left.
Savor them.
Yeah, savor them, mate. They'll be going soon. So, Tom, you reckon would everyone be interested in having a look at some assistant stuff? I mean, I don't know whether it's relevant for everyone, but I suppose it's information.
Might be really
I would
uninteresting
say.
to some people.
Yeah.
I think especially PEDs in women, because I think that's like a real, I don't know, it's a subject that people don't cover very often, and I think you only ever hear the bad things about PEDs with women.
Yeah.
So I think I'd be really interested in looking at how it's different for women.
I think, yeah, I think maybe. I mean, I'm happy to do that. We're happy to do that, no problem. I think maybe we could tie it in with maybe talking about other aids as well, like thyroid support, for example, which would be massively important for women. I know Mads has got a couple of females that have sort of less active thyroid, etc., that do have to supplement. So I think we'll do that. We won't go too in depth in terms of, I don't know. We'll do that. We'll do
put
that.
something together.
Yeah,
More than happy to do that. I think it's something that people are interested in,
Yeah.
Even if it's just from like a nosy perspective, like, because it's a bit of a nomad thing. So yeah, 100% we can talk about that. No issue with that.
Yeah, possibly put in pre-comp supplementation as well, like the water retention stuff and all that, and the reasoning behind it.
Yeah,
we might do that on a separate one, so we could cover we could do a peak week, why we do certain things in peak week.
Yeah,
maybe
that'd be
Yeah, peak week is a good topic.
yeah.
Definitely.
Right. I think it, to be fair, it is actually quite relevant. Looking at some of the guys on the screen now, obviously we've got Ricky and Matt who have recently done shoots. Like they had a peaking protocol, I suppose, that potentially they weren't familiar was even going to happen. In terms of how I know Matt and Ricky both lost weight during their peak, where food went up. We manipulated water to a certain extent, introduced certain sort of natural diuretics as well. So I think there's lots to cover there. Yeah, we'll do that. Matt is writing it down now, so it's definitely happening. We'll do that. And again, guys, if there's anything else that you want covered, we'll do that. But massively thankful for all of you jumping on your Sunday morning, and looking forward to next week. We may be on a Sunday.
And do Sunday again next week.
Yeah, we'll let you know if that's okay with you all. But we'll let you know. Any more topics, let us know. Have a lovely rest of the day. Kill Sunday. Set yourself up for a big week this week. I look forward to all of your check-ins, you beautiful human beings.
Bye.
Thanks, guys. Take care.
Have a good weekend.
See you later.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
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 Bye, 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 bye.
So cute.